Welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen here in Saltillo. Appreciate you getting out tonight. And in this time change, a little dark now, for a few more months we'll be in this darkness at this hour. Let me call the meeting to order for Tuesday, November 7th, 2023 at 6 p.m. If you'll please stand for the invocation.
Lord Jesus, we love you tonight, and we thank you for another great opportunity to represent our little town, God, in the way that you're growing and prospering this. We thank you for the blessings you bestowed upon us all, and we thank you again for an opportunity. And help us, Lord, to make every decision according to your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, you may be seated. Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for tonight's meeting. All members of the board are present. For those of you that are just joining us, there's a new law that if you want to speak, you need to sign in. We prefer you speak to an item that's on the agenda, but we are a little flexible being a small town, so if anyone wants to speak, we'll get back to that in just a second. All right, approval of the minutes. Board members, you have received your packet electronically, or you picked it up here in the office, and I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I so move.
Motion by Alderman Carter,
I second.
second by Alderman Morgan. Discussion? Any corrections, additions? Not hearing any. We'll take a roll call vote. Alderman Carter,
Yes.
Alderman Wood,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes.
and Alderman Reeves.
Yes, sir.
The minutes are approved. To let you all know that the minutes are posted and kept in record here. If anybody wants public documents, you request public document, we'll be able to give that to you. All right, next on our agenda, we don't have, we do have one public comment. Are there any others at this time? Mr. Don Robinson, everybody pretty much knows Mr. Don if you're from Saltillo. I've been here a long time. And he wears many hats. Mr. Don, he's on the Tennessee River
Resort
Board.
Yeah.
And he has also been appointed to the election, I'm not sure if they call it a commission or a council or.
Council.
But I'll let you speak to it. You go ahead and take it from there, Mr. Don.
All right. Thank you for letting me speak, and I want to thank each and every one of you because of all of y'all's work and everybody here and going up there and phone calls and going to meetings and talking and the mayor and y'all. We got our voting booth back. So that's good. But now the ball's in our court. We've got to come up with people to man it. And so we've got a new person that's over it now. Her name is Kim Melson. Everybody says she's a real nice person. She has worked in the courthouse and everybody likes her, so we're hoping we will too and she'll like us. But we do need, I just want to stress that it is up to us now to come up with the people to man this and do this. So if you haven't filled out one of them or haven't ever worked, fill one out and put your name in there, and you have a choice to either work here or work somewhere else. And that's what I said. I'll go anywhere they want me to because I want them to know that they can count on Saltillo for people. Because and Greg can testify to that, we've heard a lot of complaints from the former lady that was in there that she couldn't get people down here to work. So let's let the new person know that we'll be with them and help them and work with them. So if y'all got anybody that you know or can think of, talk to the mayor and he'll help you go from there. All right, and I know you've got some more you want to say. So
well, yeah, I'll get to the end of it, but I appreciate your service in that committee. That kind of came up late, I say, in the game. Mr. Robinson has been in many meetings with the election commission and the county commission together. I've sat in a few of them with them, and so it's a heavy weight that the election commission carries. but it's also a heavy weight that the county commission carries in funding and all those other things that go on within it. So I'll come back to that, but we appreciate your service on that. Thanks so much. And it's certainly a win for Saltillo and all the citizens and residents here. Next, policy. We don't have any policies tonight. Old business, there is no old business, but we do have some new business. We have a presentation from Ms. Jill Holland. She's here to my left from Southwest Tennessee Development District. They are our partners in what we do in small communities like Saltillo. The local government specialist, special projects coordinator, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about the Tennessee Main Street Roadshow downtown program. So I'll just turn it over to you.
Okay, it's good to be here again. I'm glad to see everybody. Again, I was here a few months ago, and it seems like you're making great progress on the parks assessment that the state is doing for y'all.
And you came to Riverdale, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, we
I
appreciate
did.
it. I know you
was-
drove a long
It
way
was
to come
fun.
through. Thank
It
you.
was really
was
fun. I enjoyed it, and I got the best Mexican street corn, and I had my little dog with me, and that street corn was so good, and I had about 3 bites, and I put it in the cup holder in my car, and when I put the dog in, I went around to my side, and if she was not eating the street corn out of my cup, I thought, I'll be switched. This just beats all. So, but it was really fun, and I've been to several festivals this year, and I just want to commend you all for the festival that you had, and I mean, it would rival some of the larger town festivals. So you all have a great thing going on, and congratulations for that. But I just wanted to talk for a moment about the Tennessee Main Street program and the Tennessee Downtowns program. You all have probably heard about both of them before. Tennessee is unique. Well, the Tennessee Main Street program is all over the country. And people who are looking for new places to live or to set up businesses or to start an industry, when they find out that a city or town is a Main Street community, they know that that community has put extra effort into making themselves as livable as possible for the residents. And those towns are really a step above anyone who's not a Tennessee or a Main Street community, because there's certain criteria that those towns have to meet in order to be a Main Street community. Now, Tennessee is unique because I don't know if they're still the only one, but several years ago, they started the Tennessee Downtowns program. And I believe that Tennessee might be the only state in the country that has Tennessee Downtowns, which means it's a Main Street community on training wheels. Some Tennessee Downtowns decide just to stay there, because really you get just about all of the same privileges and benefits as a Tennessee Main Street community. Some decide, after they've been a Tennessee Downtowns for a few years, they decide that they're going to go ahead and make the move to a Tennessee Main Street community. And there's a little bit more criteria in becoming that. But I recommend everyone starting as a Tennessee Downtown. I know about 13 years ago, right before I was mayor, in McKenzie, I applied to be in the second round of the Tennessee Downtowns. And we got it. I have never been so excited in my whole life, because with that came a grant that we got that allowed us to use in our downtown to fix up some of the old buildings. Now, it's nothing that Saltillo has to pay for, okay? It's between the property owner and the state. The city gets a certain amount of money for that grant, and then The state pays, it may be 80-20 now, and then the property owner pays 20% of it. So I know in McKenzie, we used it for signage, new signage for buildings. We used it to retuck old bricks that were, they were losing the mortar. But if it's a really old brick, it has to be done in a certain way. You just can't use Portland cement because it will eat away the bricks. Some used it to put in new windows. Some used it for painting. Anything that shows from the outside, they could use it in those buildings. You can't use it on the inside, but this is to help the facades. They've gotten a lot more liberal in how you can use these grants. And if you can convince the committee that this is a use that we would like to do in the downtown, and you've got a good reason behind it, more than likely the committee will accept it, the state committee will accept it. I want to commend Mayor Billings because next week there's a workshop at Southwest Tennessee Development District in Jackson, and it teaches people how to apply for the Tennessee Downtown's grant. And it's all, like I said, you all don't have to pay anything. And if you're accepted, if you're a certified Tennessee Downtowns, then you get money to help fix up some of the buildings in your downtown. And more than likely, they really can't be used unless they've changed the regulations on it. Mayor Billings, we can ask them, but we were not allowed to use them on government buildings. They had to be used on private buildings. So that kind of motivates your property owners to fix their buildings up. And of course, if their buildings are fixed up, the value of those buildings goes up, and it also attracts other people who are looking for a place to start a business, because they see, hey, you've got a really neat looking downtown. Our downtown, honestly, I'll tell you this, before we were a Tennessee downtown, it looked like a World War II bomb had gone off in it. It looked terrible. We had so many store windows that were closed. We had broken windows in the buildings, and any potential business that was looking at starting a business in McKenzie, Tennessee, they just kept right on driving. We didn't even know they were there. They just drove right past us, and that's what they do. Business and industry and people moving into your town consider your downtown the heart of the community. They also see that if that downtown is fixed up and there's pride in it, that's a reflection of the workers in the workforce that they will get in their business. If the downtown is just a disarray and you've got broken windows and things aren't, even the sidewalks aren't swept off and look neat and nice, they say, well, these workers here probably aren't even going to care what kind of a job they do, so they just drive right on. So that's, whether we agree with it or not, or whether we realize it, this has been a lot of research, and it does show that your downtown and the way your downtown is kept is a direct reflection of the people in the town. And I was so impressed. I don't think I've come through here at night before, but it is beautiful coming down your main street here with your street lights and the way it shows up everything and your gazebo. I'll just say it's just really looks nice out there. But this explains the Tennessee Downtown, or the Main Street program, and you can see the communities right here that are Tennessee Main Street communities. McKenzie is one of those now. We made the move from Tennessee Downtowns to Tennessee Main Street. It's a little difficult to do, but it also explains in here about the Tennessee Downtowns program. And when you do get certified, you receive this really nice sign. And what we did to put our sign up, you can see a picture of it right here, kind of a little seal. And it's also on this that I gave you. That's what the Tennessee downtown sign looks like. We got the TCAT in McKenzie, their welding department, to make a special signpost for it, and it's beautiful. It's in our park. But for Tennessee downtowns, and it's work. I did it myself, but it's really hard for one person to do. So I would say, if you can, and Mayor Billings will learn about this next Tuesday, but if you can, it's great to have a committee to work on it, and then you can assign people different things. And I will be more than happy to help you all and read through things and make suggestions, you know, on the draft before you turn it in, because I've been through it. And I kind of know what they're looking for. That doesn't guarantee that you would get it, but I will be more than happy to do that. But you can see, if you take a look right here, you have to define a project area, and more than likely that's your downtown. You don't want to make it too big, but you want to define, okay, where is this going to take place? What's going to be considered our Tennessee downtown? And then, of course, you have right now a steering committee that you'll have to appoint, and it's usually about a 5-member steering committee. You have to have a designated 501c3 organization that is actually going to host the steering committee. So it could be your city, it could be another local organization. We went with the city in McKenzie. It was just easier to do. I was the mayor, and it was just easy. I didn't have to go out and find whoever I was looking for, but that's entirely up to you all. And then you illustrate the interest on behalf of the citizens for the revitalization of the downtown. That's pretty easy, because you know that you're doing this to bring new life into your downtown, to bring new business. Many times it will help promote festivals. It will help promote different events that are coming into your town when they know that you're a designated Tennessee Downtowns community. Illustrate how the city and county government recognizes the importance of downtown as an asset to the community. And this would be something that you could get your county mayor involved in, and he would probably need to write a letter. You would probably have to have letters from, and they'll go over this on Tuesday, but letters from your state representative, your state senator, the county mayor, and the chamber director for Hardin County, possibly to be the Tennessee Resort committee, the chairman, the director and person who's in charge of that. Let's see, Beth Pippin would be a great person to also write a letter, but I can also help you with those. And then you demonstrate the need for a downtown revitalization. What we did, and I believe it was this grant, it's a terrible thing to do to your community, but we did it and we've reaped the benefits from it. We declared our downtown blighted because it had so many stores and buildings that were closed and not being used. And so we showed there's this blighted downtown, and look where we can be if we could be a Tennessee Downtowns community. But we can walk through that a little bit later, and that might be a really good question too for the West Tennessee consultant for it, Laura Todd, and also Nancy Williams. And then you submit your complete application, and then you will hopefully be selected as a Tennessee Downtowns community. And I will tell you this, they are looking for communities that can clearly demonstrate that they will be active, that they will be moving forward, and they're not just going to have the name, we're a Tennessee Downtowns community, and not do anything else. So they want to see that, yeah, you are active, you're viable, and you're a living, breathing Tennessee downtown. And then you can see down here in green are all the towns that are Tennessee Downtowns communities, and several of them are Main Street communities now, and a lot continue just to be Tennessee Downtowns communities. Now, one neat thing about this, not only do you get a grant, and I'm not sure what it will be this year. When we started, I believe the grant was maybe only 15,000. Then it went up to 75,000. But as a Tennessee Downtown, you all will get to enter the grant process. It's about every year or every 2 years. And the money that they have now for that, I think it's several $100,000 that you can use. And once again, this is usually not, unless they've changed everything, it's not anything that Saltillo would have to fork out. It's between the property owner and the state. So, and it's usually been in the past about an 80-20, unless, and they don't have any of the numbers yet for the 2023, 2024 grants, but 80-20 is usually what it is. So the property owner pays 20% of, whatever it is they're going to do. So this is just a brief overview and a nutshell of what it's about. It is a win-win for the community because you don't have to worry about your share. And all it does is come in and help your property owners that many of them just can't afford to fix up their building. They've got a gorgeous building, a beautiful building, but they can't afford to fix it up. And so this helps, this helps for them. Y'all have any questions? Questions at all? Okay, all right, well, like I say, this is something that Mayor Billings didn't have to do. I'm sure he doesn't even get paid for doing it, but kudos to Saltillo for having a mayor and a council that is behind projects like this. And it's just really appreciated that you're going to come to this meeting and find out how to improve your town, because so many times, I'll just tell you, there are towns that I go to larger than Saltillo, and that town is not moving. And I know exactly why, and it's because leadership is not there. They just sit there and they don't do anything. But you all have a council. Just the fact that all of you all are here tonight shows that you're interested in your town and you want to move it forward, and you see good things happening for it. And when I go to different places, I was talking to someone yesterday in Jackson, and I mentioned I was going to Saltillo, and they said, man, that little town has so much potential. They are on the verge of really going places. So, and you want to grow, but you want to grow in the right way, in a way that preserves your values and your culture here. So, and I think y'all are doing a great job of it. Thank you. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay.
I have a
Sure.
question, we have, of course, read
Yeah.
this. It says that the next round will open in fall of '23, which is now, or
Yes.
have we passed that?
No.
That's why he's going to the meeting.
That's why he's going to the meeting, and they will probably announce at the meeting when it's going to be open and when it will close. You will probably have, I would say 6 to 8 weeks to work on it, but don't take that to the bank. So it's pretty fast.
And then after we've turned in our stuff, then how long until that's awarded or whatever?
It's pretty fast. Of course, they have to go through all of the ones. I would say you would probably know within a couple of months.
Okay.
So it just depends on how. I would imagine that the committee, the East Tennessee, West Tennessee, and Middle Tennessee people will get together. There would be about 3 or 4 of them, and they would go through all of the applications and make sure that they met all the qualifications and requirements. And remember, they're looking
to eliminate you. All right, they're not looking to bring you on board. They're looking at, it's just like industry. They're looking at reasons to eliminate, sites and cities, and the same way with these grants. So you wanna make sure everything is in order and the way it should be, and I'll help you, our grant writers will help you in whatever way we can, because, we want y'all to get it. I think it'd be great for your community. So, anything else? Okay, and I think I handed out my card last time that you all have, but you can, ask Mayor Billings if you need to call me for any reason. My direct number is on there, and I'll be glad to come back down here too and work with you as you're working on it, or you can email me things to look at, and we'll get through this. So, and you'll be very proud.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any more questions? We appreciate you driving out to be with us tonight.
Thank you.
Giving us that information. I look forward to the training. And find out what all the details are. Thank you. All right. We'll move right along. Approval of ordinances. There are no ordinances in play tonight, so we'll move right on. We have a request from the fire department to purchase, actually not to purchase, but to accept a donation. What I'll do right here, I guess let you present. I haven't seen the chief and haven't heard from him, so I don't know if he's gonna attend or not. So, but you and I talked a little bit, so I will let you present to the board. What we'll do, board, Assistant Chief Bruce will make a presentation. You can ask him some questions and all back and forth, and then we will go through the process of our motions and votings and all those kind of things. So I haven't heard from Chief Young, but Assistant Chief, we'll let you move ahead. Okay.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. And first, I want to start off by saying I apologize. There was a post made on Facebook through the fire department page, and it said some things and gave some people some ill feelings, and it was pretty much a reactionary thing, and it was taken down because I felt maybe after reading it and some of the comments and stuff like that, but it wasn't in the best light. So I want to apologize for that. That was kind of not so good to do. This fire apparatus that is available to us through donation is through a department that is neighboring to where I'm from. I helped with the spec process of this fire apparatus. I'm very familiar with it. It is pretty much a clone of another one that was at a department that I was on and was the chairperson of that apparatus committee. The reason that the fire apparatus is being donated is, unfortunately, there is a push in the Prince George's County to basically eradicate the volunteers, and it's a really, really dark road that they've gone down and that they've gotten themselves into. A lot of the members in the volunteer fire service in Prince George's County have left because of the, how do I put this? Pretty ridiculous and overbearing requirements that the county has placed on them, such as 24 hours a month of training to remain on the roster to ride and provide service and stuff like that. These fire departments have an annual operating budget of somewhere around $1 to $2 million a year. They can afford to go out and purchase these apparatus, every 2 to 5 years, without a second thought to it. When I found out some of the things I've been watching go on, I reached out to the fire chief myself because I had heard some scuttlebutt that fire apparatus was going to be deadlined for. The reasoning that came from the county fire department is, oh, it needs a new generator, and pretty much it's going to cost too much to fix it. And through speaking with a past employer that I have that did the quote on the fire apparatus, they were told to almost make the quote double what it would actually cost to repair it so that they could get it out of the county. And it's left a lot of people and a lot of volunteer organizations pretty bitter. When I reached out to their fire chief, I asked what they were planning on doing with it, and he said he wasn't sure yet, and kind of in jest as a joke, I said, hey, you want to donate it to the city of Saltillo? We could use a newer fire truck. And he asked me, he said, are you guys running around on horse and buggies and stuff still, and steam apparatus? I said, well, pretty close. And I showed him pictures, and he was like, I'm going to the board, to the meeting tomorrow night, and I will bring it up. He was like, I think it's a great thing. So he agreed. He brought it before their membership. Their membership unanimously voted to donate it to us if we wanted it. It went before their board of directors. Their board of directors approved it, and I got the letter to pretty much effectively donate it to us as long as we want it. The reason that we'd like to get this fire apparatus is because it adds more service. We'd like to grow instead of stagnating. When I came here, I joined, things kind of had been a little stagnant in the department. Things hadn't been progressing very much to grow with the town, and with this being a tourist spot, a lot of people come here during the summer that don't live here full time and stuff like that, and we have a duty to protect them just as well as the people that live here all the time. One of the things that I'm working towards is, because we have the river 3/4 of a mile from the fire station, but we don't get called on water rescues because that is deemed the county's area. We're working towards a water rescue program. We would like to repurpose one of the apparatus that we have now as the main water rescue and special rescue units, and that would be Rescue 10. All the extrication equipment and some extra rescue equipment would go on this rescue engine to provide more service and a higher quality of service to the people of Saltillo and surrounding areas. It would be an asset to not only us, but around Hardin County, Decatur County, Henderson County, everywhere surrounding, through the mutual aid agreement and automatic aid agreement. And really, I think it's in the best interest. There's a list that should have came in the packets and stuff like that with the quote from the third party vendor with the prices. There's also another list in there that I've included. I would be willing to donate my time to do the repairs, to fix it, as long as we can take care of it. Some of this stuff would be deferred until a later time because it's not as high of a priority. To avert the generator being inoperative, the snorkel truck has a generator that we could place on it relatively easy to make up for that deficiency, and the rest of it is mostly just parts and time. But I think it would be a pretty good asset for us. And even if we get it here and it doesn't work out so well, it has a resale value of almost $200,000, which is a big chunk of what we would need to pay to buy a new fire apparatus that we plan on replacing anyway.
So this is a rescue truck?
It's a rescue engine. It's dual purpose.
Okay.
It basically is a pumper truck, but it has more storage capacity to put rescue equipment on.
Okay, all right.
So it would do fire, extrication, a little bit of EMS. It would be able to carry pretty much double the capacity of equipment that we have now on any of our fire apparatus.
I want to thank you for all this information. I mean, I didn't know anything about a fire truck other than it had to be driven by a fireman and it was red. But, just going through this, which was beneficial to me, you kind of pick up on, things and ideas that you have for moving forward, et cetera, like that, if you don't know, the one thing I did wanna ask, the papers they sent had it 2007, and you have it in 2006.
I picked the date up from the website. It's actually a 2007 model year. It started production in 2006.
Oh, okay, cause I'm thinking, are we talking about the same truck here?
It is the same truck. It's just
Yeah.
a a time difference between when it was started and what actual model year it's said to be.
And also your enthusiasm for wanting to move forward and better our fire department. That's something that,
Oh, I've
that
got
we
a,
really appreciate.
I've got a whole 2-page report here to go along with the fire chief's report for when that time comes to.
So this is a list of the needs.
There should be two. There's one from the third-party vendor, which is M&M, a previous employer of mine, and then the other one is basically a Excel spreadsheet with, you know, the parts and the labor and stuff like that, and what I would need to do to donate the time to repair it.
If I could interrupt for a second, just so the board knows that the sheet that says sheet 1, that was created by the assistant chief. It doesn't have a total on it, but you can look through there and total it yourself. I don't know if you know off the top of your head what that total is or not on there.
I think the total in parts is somewhere around 16,000, and that would include the fuel, what I project to drive it down here from there.
And then the estimate from M&M Fleet dated January 25, 2023, that is from the department themselves. When they were told they're gonna have to get rid of it, they took it to the shop as he described. I did talk to the chief this week regarding his letter of intent to donate and all the things that are supposedly wrong with it. I haven't seen any pictures of it, but I don't know if, you know, I guess you got pictures. I don't know, I'm kinda like Ms. Wood. I'm not a firefighter. I had to read and call the experts at, you know, MTAS and the chiefs, and I, you know, work with Melvin Martin some about some things and get some feedback, so, but that is the list of repairs. So he made one and slimmed it down a little bit, and according to the chief, kinda he described some things that were going on up there that might have some connection to why the list is so long, some $57,000 to do everything on it that they say needs to be done. And some of it is small stuff, like a turn signal. I mean, you know, I say it's small, but it may not be. But anyway, so additional questions for the board or additional from the chief?
Well, yeah, I am a little concerned about, look, we're gonna go back to this Facebook post where I was actually defending our alderman and somewhat attacked on there, so. I'm concerned because in the Facebook post, the comments are made, we're gonna lose this if we don't act now. We can't wait till the next meeting. The aldermen don't care anything about our city. We were misled, blasted, and to be honest, lied on. So now, to be honest, I got a whole lot of questions where our integrity comes in, to where our department's represented, and of course, I feel better now the mayor said he talked to the chief, and we just can't have that type of representation coming from our fire department, attacking the people who volunteer their time and love this city as much as anybody else. Whether it's you, whether it's Ward, whether it's Young, it doesn't matter to me who it is, we're all in this together. And we can't just flip on a dime because somebody says we need to go get a truck. There's protocols and policies we have to follow because we're gonna be accountable to the state and to these people.
And let me speak on that. And I don't mean this in any poor manner towards the fire chief, but there was a lack of communication when I first found out about this opportunity and told him. I don't believe it was conveyed, and the responses that I got from him were pretty negative, and I believe that I may have been lied to too, and that's part of what led to that. And there's no excuse for it, but I should have done the fact finding before. But like I said, I was a little pissed at what he had told me that had been said that I found out may not have been said, and the information that he said that he passed on that may not have been passed on in a timely manner. And I really didn't believe that they were going to allow us the time. That's why I asked him to ask the mayor to have a special meeting within about a week, and that was not done. And luckily, as I talked to the fire chief there a little more, He said that they may have time to hold it and stuff like that while we got our ducks in a row. Because I explained the situation to him, you know, that I can't just, you know, the fire department isn't a separate entity. I can't just decide, hey, we're just gonna go get this, you know, there's a little more process here and stuff like that I've found
And
out.
I interrupt you for a second, that Assistant Chief Bruce and I did talk for a while and kind of got an understanding of protocol, purchasing policy, acquisition of equipment, chain of command, all those kind of things, and what the board's involvement is in approving any kind of capital expenditure. So we've had some talks about this. And so I did tell him and the chief I would put this on the agenda for this month's meeting, so you would be able to have some information about it. But with that being said, let's just move on for a minute. Any questions for him about the truck or the estimates or the intent? I do have a couple questions myself for you as well, but any more questions from the board?
Well, I do. I have a question.
Yeah.
So, if you went and got this fire truck right now, let's say tomorrow you leave and go, we think that about $16,000 on that sheet one would be what it would take to initially kind of get it going and get things in the right direction, getting it here, getting it, and getting it to where it would.
To where it would be functioning and in service and able to.
And then, so then the other one, that was from, I hate to say this, it was from somebody up north in Maryland that gave that estimate,
Yes.
so. Do we think that's kinda high or not? I mean, you know, I don't know, can you
So,
shop around and things like that,
when-
or what?
When I looked up parts and got other estimates,
Yeah.
the estimate that's on that sheet is with a markup through a business.
Yeah.
I rolled a lot of that into my estimate just to cover shipping and
Right.
anything else
Right.
and unforeseen stuff. So I honestly do believe somewhere around 16,000 would be able to put it in service and be an asset to the community.
So why do you, well, let me ask you this, why do you think we need this? I mean, I need to know, cause I'm like them, I don't know much about it. So why do you think we need it? Is our other one like kinda on the verge of falling apart, or?
There's
I
several
mean-
reasons. The apparatus that we have, with the exception of the tanker, all of it is 20 years or older.
Okay.
NFPA standard says that a first line, NFPA is National Fire Prevention Association, and they specify that no first line pumper shall be over 15 years or old. The issue that we have is that the apparatus that we have, unfortunately, has not been maintained as well. The one fire engine, which is the primary fire engine, leaks about 25 to 50 gallons of water a day on the floor, and will need possibly a good bit of repair
Right.
to the pump. It's not as reliable. Would I place my life on the end of the hose line inside a burning house? I would have to think long and hard at the door before I decide to chance it.
Right.
Unfortunately, the older fire truck, the pump is actually better. It doesn't leak, you know, it doesn't have as many issues. And I'm gonna go over some of that in my report too. But as the town grows, as we have more events and stuff like that, I feel it's
Right.
our duty to provide more service. And I'd rather be,
If it's my house on fire, or anybody else's, I mean, I think that's what, I said on one of the posts that somebody put about the rescue. My husband got, hurt after one of the high wind things that we had here, and got knocked out, and they had to call fire and rescue for him, and it's just, they were so great, they were so quick, and we're lucky to have people that care about about the town they live in, and the people that are here. I'll say that.
my thought process is I'd rather be proactive than reactive.
Right.
I'd rather be able to say, hey, we did a good job, than I'm sorry we couldn't do that, or be there for you, or help, you know, we're trying to get this, or we're thinking about doing it down the road. The sooner that we can do better, the better off it is for the community and the department as a whole. And having newer apparatus, I think, would bring in more members too.
Right.
Now, you said the state asked 15 years, this truck's already 16 years.
It's not state, it's the NFPA, it's a federal standard.
Okay.
And our pumper is a 1996. So as long as we show progress on getting newer apparatus and stuff like that, we'd be less likely to have an issue should there be any sort of a problem down the road. You know, if someone were to sue the fire company because they say, oh, the fire truck showed up, it didn't work because it's too old, then, you know, we wouldn't have a leg to stand on. But if we say, hey, we're renewing our inventory, we're not able to buy new trucks right away, but we're at least buying newer trucks and getting ourselves closer, that looks better on us.
Has the fire department applied for any grants this year?
Yes, ma'am.
You have?
Where, do you just want me to go into the chief's report?
You don't,
Well, let's
that may be
do
too much
this, let's do
question.
this for the sake of getting confusing.
The
He
reason
does.
I asked that is because of his question also, because it made me think about grant.
But for the sake
I'll
of
go
getting
with that.
confusion, let's just stick with this request first. His share of the grant that he did receive a little bit later, but let's stick with the truck, we're gonna have to make some action on this, so anyway, the question was, have you applied for grants this year? Yes, he has. What about the past 2 or 3, 4 years? Your letter that y'all have says they're gonna do some grants and some fundraising and things like that, so in the past several years, 2 to 3 years, do you know how many fundraisers you've done?
I don't. I can say in the past 1 year that I've been in the department, we have not done any.
Yeah, well, probably hadn't done any in 2 or 3 years, but anyway, so, any other questions from the board?
One, is everything that is on this list needs to be fixed on?
Not right away. Not everything's a priority. And in the second list, some of the items I've gone through and then put not a priority and will be fixed or corrected or taken care of later on.
Additional question from the board?
This might be a crazy question, but just going with all this packet you've given us, and you talk about engine 1 and engine 2, and engine 2 being better shape than engine 1, but acquiring this, you would be getting rid of engine 1, or getting rid, this would eventually help
Eventually.
engine 2 to give you enough water. My question is, have you ever run, and this may be crazy, have you ever run out of water, or, since you've been here?
Not since I've been here,
Yeah.
though.
Let me answer this question for the fire chief, because I've done a little work on this myself, and that, this is a pumper truck, but it also serves as rescue as well, correct?
Yes.
So the question is, how does this affect our ability to pump water? According to our recent iOS rating, we got a score of a 3 out of 3. So there was no negative consequence of our current equipment that would pump water. So all of our equipment has the capacity to pump water as the ISO rating required. Got a full 3 for 3 points. Our water system in Saltillo, the utility district, we, to my knowledge, and as he spoke, have never run out of water in the immediate vicinity of Saltillo in fighting a fire. Now, I could be wrong on that. I could be, somebody could tell me that, but according to what information I've received, we have not. So, does additional pumper truck add value to our ISO? Not in the ISO category, but there are some things regarding secondary pumper trucks in the ISO rating, which we get a low score on because we don't have a secondary. We have the one pumper, right? The one
We have
pump-
2.
2 pumpers, okay, so we got some points on that, but our ISO rating identifies everything we need to know and do about our fire department to keep our rating high, so that our insurance rate for our property owners are low. So in speaking with the ISO personnel in our rating, in the previous evaluation, our rating went down. They sent us a letter and said we had to do some things under the previous administration, former Mayor Lowry. They did those things with Chief Young, and they brought our rating back to a 5 ISO. A 5 ISO for a town our size is a very good rating. Are there some things we can improve in our fire department with the rating? Yes. We won't go into those right now because we're talking about the capacity of the fire truck and how it impacts our services. So having another pumper, according to ISO, our current pumper meets those demands. Okay.
That's
So any additional questions from the board?
So, is this is this one gonna replace one of the ones that we have?
Yes, that's the long-term plan is to, for the fire department to get this piece of equipment, and they're gonna take things off the other equipment, put it on this one, and update it, okay? So, you have a list of things that need to be repaired and all those kind of things in the packet, but ultimately, that's what your plan and fire department plan is. Okay, additional questions from the board?
I don't know if you're gonna sign a contract, you're not gonna leave till all that labor would be done. I mean,
Yeah.
When you look at- when
I'm
you
here
look
2
at
or 3
this-
days a week,
Yeah.
doing stuff as it is.
no,
and-
but you might get sick.
So, any
I mean, that's
additional
a lot,
questions
you're
about?
saving a lot of labor. I mean, my point, that was a joke, but, does anybody else know how to do this labor besides you, that could work that out? If
I
they were
have,
able?
I have another member that would be helping me.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, let me compliment Assistant Chief Bruce, that we have a truck in the bay now. I'm not sure which one, the one that had carburetor problem, what's it called?
Engine 2.
Engine 2, sat idle for months and months, or maybe a year. Didn't work. Spending some money on it, trying to get it to work, didn't work. He got it running, and it'll run now. Now, it's not the fanciest thing in town, but he has the mechanical skills to do these kind of things. So I compliment him on getting that running. But, currently, we're talking about a truck that you see in the paper has been donated formally if we accept it. There are some, it's gonna be donated to it, but there are some costs that are connected to it. You have all those documents there, so do y'all have any other questions, and I'll move it along. Okay.
The fire department is planning on helping to do fundraisers to help pay for the
Yes,
cost
ma'am.
of this. Okay.
But Dave, is there any of this that you would need to fix before you start your trip from Maryland?
I don't anticipate it, but I'm going to go through it before driving and make sure it's something that I feel comfortable is gonna go down the road without a
That's-
problem.
It's a long way.
It is a long ride, and I'm gonna take my toolbox with me and make sure if anything does need to be done, it gets taken
Yeah.
care of first. If we do accept it and I say I go up there, next week I gotta go to Maryland anyway. If I go up and take a look at it and decide, hey, can we keep it here for another month and get this done and this done and this done to make it safe to drive home, I don't see them having a problem with it.
No.
Any additional questions? Okay, appreciate it, thank you. I would entertain a motion on this matter of acquisition.
I'll make a motion that we
Okay, we have
accept.
a motion by Alderman Maynard, second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Alderman Carter was second, therefore we'll have discussion about this particular piece of equipment. You've asked him a lot of questions and things about it. Any discussion?
The estimated cost just to get it from there to here.
About $25 to $100 in fuel. That's a high estimate.
And let me share with the board a couple of things and your determination in making this decision. I, as the mayor, do not feel confident to receive this donation at this time due to a lack of direct communication from Chief Kenny Young to me about all the goings on about this fire truck. Also, the priorities that our department has. Assistant Chief Bruce and I have talked about some things, but I think before we move forward with any kind of expenditure, accepting another piece of equipment, that we look at our priorities in more detail. What do we really need to have to make our fire department effective and safe for all the responders and safe for our community? Our ISO rating is good, but I will tell you, in some brief conversation with Mr. Bruce, that we have a lot of things in our department that need repair. We have not done a good job at preventative maintenance for a long time on our vehicles because we haven't had the money to do it in a small town. These things, as you see, cost lots of money to acquire, to purchase, to repair. That's why we rely a lot of times on grants to acquire things such as the fire truck or turnout gear. I don't have a list of priorities for our department. I don't have any budget requests. In their letter, they say they're gonna do some fundraisers and things like that. I'm not confident that that's gonna happen. They haven't done any in 2 or 3 years. So I'm just telling you as the board members, y'all need to consider this strongly, because I appreciate all the work that he is doing in trying to bring our fire department forward, Assistant Chief Bruce, but I think we gotta take a little better inventory of what's going on, such as a truck that has an ADE machine on it that doesn't work. That's a priority repair. That cannot wait. We've got to get that done immediately. Water leaking out of the units or pumps that need to be done. We need to do an analysis just like this company did up in Maryland. We need to do an analysis on our priority equipment and determine what it's going to cost to get it in tip-top shape. Otherwise, we need to do with it like we've done with all the 6 other apparatus we have that we buy junk and we plan on repairing it and it's sitting out there. It never gets repaired and we finally get it moved out. Okay, so I'm just telling you as the mayor, and looking at our finances and what little I know about the fire department, because I don't have enough knowledge, I don't have enough information coming from the chief. Assistant Chief Bruce and I have talked quite a bit about it in and out, but he's not in charge. He's the assistant chief. Our chief is not here tonight. I don't know why he's not here. I haven't heard from him. But we haven't had a dialogue about the specific plans that follow this acquisition. So, yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
What about the apparatus not working? I mean, this is like something that's coming up that I haven't heard. I mean, I didn't understand.
I'll go over that in the chief's report.
We'll let him do a report real quick in just a minute. We're running late in the hour, but I don't want to rush you in your decision, because this is a big decision. You're potentially accepting a vehicle that's gonna cost some thousands to get in service. So, and I would like to have some new equipment. I would like to have some more modern equipment. You see one of the trucks is 1983. Yeah, that's an issue.
It's being labeled as the best one we got.
Well,
I mean, right now it is being labeled
But
that.
that's what I'm saying. Old equipment, if you got it in tip-top shape, and looking at our ISO rating, that, there's some things to be said about all of that. But I'm very concerned about making any move on anything without knowing what we got. Also, there's some grants gonna come up for the CBDG, block grants. We can very well use one of those grants to acquire some equipment or trucks or turnout gear or whatever. But, that's yet to be seen at this point, so, okay. Additional from the board?
You reminded us of a ongoing problem, and he is not the chief, and so a concern would be, for me, is that, maybe we need to get our house in order before we can move forward on anything. I mean, I don't know if any.
Yeah,
if that
because
rest-
I mean,
if that
real
means
honestly,
anything
the chief is not here. The chief has not been here. So that's our issue, and it's nothing against you, you've done a superb job stepping up. I mean, but we need, I mean, that's where I think a lot of the miscommunication came in on the Facebook page. But, you know, you're right, we need to get our house in order first when it comes to it.
Any additional discussion about the acquisition of this donation? We'll have a roll call vote at this time. If you vote yes, it's to approve the donation. So Alderman Wood?
I think no. At this time, and so you clarified that,
Yeah, you voted no.
tonight, to
Tonight.
approve this tonight.
Correct. Alderman Morton?
No.
Alderman Maynard?
No.
Alderman Reed?
No.
Alderman Carter?
No.
Okay, motion failed. We will not accept the donation from Maryland. I do want to commend you, Chief, Assistant Chief Bruce, for the work you've done in presenting this information and trying to work with me and communicate some things about the department and what our desires are. But I think we can move forward from here. And some of those things I mentioned about, you know, our priorities, what we need to do, and working together, not only with just us in-house, but with our county fire departments and our partners with Southwest Development and MTAS. We've got opportunity to do some things for this fire department that will improve our community and maybe recruit some more volunteer firefighters. Because right now, we have a limited number of volunteer firefighters as it is. So he's working real hard on recruiting and things like that. So without any delay in the process of the meeting, because we're getting late in the hour, I'm going to first let him go ahead and give his report and share with you all about what the fire department information is and a grant that he received. I did approve him to move forward with this grant. He's going to tell you about it. It's 100%. Didn't cost us anything. Okay, didn't cost us anything. He did this on his own in communication with a grant opportunity. Okay, go ahead.
All right. In the absence of the fire chief, and basically, I'll just come right out and say it, I've been acting as the fire chief for some time. I have not received any communication from the fire chief, even though I've reached out several times. The soonest time that I've seen him was this evening, about 20 minutes before the meeting, when he came in and removed some of his personal effects from the office. So I don't know what his plans are, but I guess that speaks to something. Currently, we have 15 members on the roster, 13 meet the state minimum requirement for firefighters, about 7 been active in the past 6 months. We've been trying to be as active as we can. You know, usually when I'm not at work, I'm here doing something, trying to clean up and stuff. Engine 1, which is a 1996 Ford, we don't know the last time that it was maintained, no service records or anything like that. There's a required annual DMT inspection for fire apparatus. I can't find any paperwork on that. The apparatus has, obviously the water leaks. It has a lot of air leaks because the air dryer has not been replaced and the water sat in the air tanks and rotted them out. I took the automatic drains out and I had to put plugs in because it's rotted them out from the inside. There's a lot of stuff that I've done and some money that I've spent myself and donated just because I'd rather just fix it and be in better shape. There's a whole list. I have another copy of it if you want to read through all the stuff that's wrong. I've gone through all the apparatus and, you know what it needs and done basically that inspection myself.
Yeah, let me interrupt you real quick on the report. As they do their assessment and figure out what things cost, things that would apply to the purchasing policy, we'll run it by the board and that kind of thing.
Right. Engine 2, the unknown date when it was last serviced, before I had touched it, I was told that it sat for 6 years with old gas in it, which was the problem. That's why it wouldn't start and run. I've gone through, I put a new fuel pump on it. I've got to flush the fuel system the rest of the way out. It does run, it does drive. You guys probably know it because it's the mosquito fogger that runs around here. But it is now operational, so if there's a fire, because I like it and it's cool. I'm gonna take it to the fire instead of the other one, because I don't want to get all the water on the way. Tanker one, in probably the best shape it is, the newest piece of apparatus. There is some small issues with it. Again, no records on last inspection, maintenance, and any of that stuff. The fuel filters on it still have the original paint from when it went down the assembly line, and it was built in 2013, so that's a little bit of an issue. It's something we need to get caught up on. The snorkel, me and the chief before had talked, and I believe it was brought up to the mayor that we want to surplus the snorkel truck. We want to get rid of it to, number one, make space, and number two, to get some money for new apparatus and stuff.
Yeah, I'm waiting on information to come in to give you that opportunity to vote on that for surplus.
I've been trying to get estimates for repairing the hydraulic cylinders to make it more easily to sell, but due to its age, some of the parts aren't available, and some people have a more hands-off approach to it. A lot of hydraulic companies are like, "It's a what? Yeah, I don't know." So it's not been an easy task trying to find some repairs and stuff like that. It may just have to go as is. It does start, run, drive, and move around, but the boom on it does not operate. State of the equipment, we received the new Scott SCBAs. We like them, but the rest of our SCBA stuff is out of date. We are no longer able to service or repair it, and going back to what he said, I gotta kind of go out of order. A couple weeks ago, I put in for a grant through the Tennessee Department of Forestry. It cost us no money, it's not matching, anything like that, and any volunteer fire department can apply for it. We were approved for it, and we will be receiving 5 jumpsuits, 5 helmets, 5 goggles, all wildland stuff, and 2 backpack blowers free of charge from the Tennessee Department of Forestry.
Thank you so much, thank you.
They should be here in, I believe, about a month is what the timetable says. Right now, November 1st, the VFEET, the Volunteer Firefighters Education and Equipment and Training Grant process opened up. It closes on November 30th. I've got 95% of it done. I had put in for 10 sets of turnout gear head to toe, brand new, because none of our stuff is NFPA compliant. 6 more additional sets of SCBA, so that as we have more members, we have more capability to keep them safe. And they will be the same as what we just received. An SCBA fill station, because our older equipment is not compatible. It's 2216 PSI, whereas the new stuff is 4500. The one that we have now would not be able to work with it. 10 portable radios, and 4 of those will be replacements for ones that are older, and the rest will be additional. 2 thermal imaging cameras, because our current thermal imaging camera, I sent it back to the manufacturer. They said they can't repair it due to the age, so we no longer have use of it. I mean, it's just sitting in the box right now. And we'd like to get a gas meter and detector. I know people are getting natural gas and stuff like that in the area, and that's something that we definitely need for those kind of calls, because the nose is not going to work. And we'd like to replace all of our hose and nozzles, and that's all going to be through that grant. The total right now, and when I went to training this past weekend, I talked to the lady that's directly responsible for it. When I told her how much I put in there, and she's like, "Don't you actually need more?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't want to be greedy." She was like, "Nope, put in everything you need, and there's a very, very good chance that you'll get most of it." So, and that's 100% funded through the state. Costs us nothing out of pocket. I've already got 95% of it done on the computer, and I'm just waiting on some more information to apply for that. And the total for that is around $186,000, and we're hoping that they're going to completely fund it. We'll at least get 50 to 65% of it, maybe more. And that's going to cover new turnouts and stuff like that. Yeah, we went over the SCBA. All of our hose is 30 to 40 years old. It's pretty out of date. That's why we want to put that in the grant. Nozzles, the same thing. Another thing, like what Greg had touched on, the AED machine, I know there's probably been some stuff that went on about a call. Our AED pads were expired. They expired in 2017, and they were still in the apparatus. I found a newer set to put in there to replace them. We have since ordered new ones to have more on hand if they get used, and so that we don't have any expired. We're also gonna need medical supplies, EMS stuff to replace the stuff that we've been using. I went through the cabinet, there was stuff in there and it was pretty old. A lot of it just degrades, has expiration dates, and probably 50% of it went in the trash because it was no longer usable, but it does need to be replaced for people like myself and the other EMRs that are able to use it. Responded to 9 calls in the past month. Items that we recently had donated, the parts for engine 1. One of the handles broke off in the pump panel, and I spent the past 3 months trying to track down parts for it because you can't just go online and order it because it's old. Somebody noticed my post from 3 months ago and, hey, do you still need them? And I was like, yeah. He said, I got 4 of them, I'll send them to you. I'm like, okay. I asked him how much, and he was like, nah, just kind of as a donation. You're a volunteer fire department, right? Like, yeah. So it actually ended up being 6 of them that came in the mail, so I was so tickled, drove right down here and put it back on so the fire truck was good to go, at least in that aspect. We were donated an inflatable outdoor movie screen that we plan to use for fundraisers, and some of the ideas I have, cars and coffee and outdoor movie nights and stuff like that. So that's something that me and several other members are looking forward to. And that's pretty much it, I guess, for that.
Sounds awesome.
Appreciate your report on that. And like I said, a lot of the things we're talking about, the repair and things that, you know, there's a lot of things that would be assessed, and we'll come back to that instead of bog you down with details of it. But he'll work on some of that, okay? All right, any questions about the fire department? We've talked a lot about it. Anything? Okay. All right, let's move on. If you look at the financial report, that give you a couple of highlights here from our account balances sheet. You have that in front of you. General fund, $166,548.64. We also have, you know, the fire department has their own checking account we mentioned last month. They have $736.02 in it. So that'll be you know, an area to where when they do fundraisers, their money they raise will go directly into that account, and we do pay some services out of that account. So we will, as a board, have to make a decision to put some more money in there so it doesn't go below $500 because you gotta have $500 in the account. You see in front of you the parks and the River Day, street aid, all these are different checking accounts. ARPA funds, we're gonna need to start talking about that. Time is ticking on that at this point. And then the balance overall for general fund, parks, everything, $288,381.36. So we are in good status in our actual checking accounts and money. If you look at your statement of revenues and expenditures, we had a great month. This month, I'm looking at page 6. Let me know if I'm going too fast for you. I'm just trying to move it along. If you look at the middle column, current actual, we had a good month. We spent $4,000 less than what we brought in, so we're in the good.
There's no page 6.
Yeah, I'm sorry, page 5. Even with my readers, I can't see it. Okay. So we're in the good, had a great month on that. So may not be like that every month, because we are doing some preventative maintenance. We got tires for a maintenance truck this month, be November. We got tires for the Chief's Patrol unit. We've got other maintenance things that are gonna have to be done. The maintenance truck had to have the front end line, had to have some ball joints, things like that. So we're gonna incur some expenses when we start doing some maintenance on these things that we have. If you maintain them, they'll last a little longer, and they'll work when you need them to work. So we're gonna have some expenses there. I do want to point out one of the issues in your budget statement. If you look at page 2, I know you have looked at some of these. You may have some questions here in a moment. But fuel and oil for the police department this month was $995.45. That is abnormal. We don't spend that much money on fuel every month. The company that we used, to do credit for the fuel, that they held a few months worth of tickets, and we just got them in. So that's why so you won't see that every month. So I didn't know, it was my fault that they were holding that long. So we got that in and take care of it. So that was kind of a surprise. We'll give you a heads up as far as legal fees. This is on page 2 also. We're doing real good with that, but we will incur, I'm sure, some additional fees as we move forward. The family of Mr. Scott Day have moved to a trial with us, City of Saltillo. We have been assigned an attorney from our PE partners for our insurance company. Also, Lewis Cobb, our regular city attorney, I've been talking with them for a few months now, but we have received documentation and we have filed in court our part of the lawsuit. So you'll hear more about that. I will not go into any detail because we are currently going to court. But it is what it is, and we may incur some additional costs, just to let you know. I think as far as report, I don't know if y'all have any additional questions on those regarding any line items specifically, but that was a couple of highlights, and we have had a good month. We're doing real well. We do count on grants, and we hope to see some of those come in the future for parks, fire department, the block grants. So, we've got lots of opportunity, as Ms. Holland said, as a former mayor, that, we are ripe for opportunity because we are a small community. And we do have some needs, and people know that we don't have a lot of revenue. So, any questions about the financial report statement, anything? Okay, we'll move right ahead. Just real quick on the mayor's report. I think Mr. Don Martin said it best. We need people to volunteer to help with the poll. And so the election will be in 12 months from today, by the way. So if you're gonna run for mayor, if you're gonna run for alderman, you need to be making your plan of it, because it's gonna be right around the corner. I posted for everyone to see when you gotta pick up your packet and you gotta file and all those kind of things. So if you wanna get into city operation and administration and all those things, you gotta get going, okay? So anyway, all right, I'll leave that alone. Progress report, system-wide park plan. If you did not pick it up, we're in the survey process. Our planner sent a survey. We have it in a hard copy form. I put this in a Google document form so you can get it by email and fill it out and send it back. Community can get these. We're gonna put them in a couple locations here in town. They can drop them in the black box outside, and we're just trying to get data about park usage, things like that. Let's see, Veterans Day, November the 11th at noon in the fire department here. We're gonna have a special guest, Miss Brooke is going to join us. She is the director of Veteran Services for Hardin County, so her and her team are gonna come down, and if you know veterans, tell them to come out and have some lunch at noon, and she'll be here to answer questions. She doesn't really have a program. I just said, hey, come meet some people, show your face. She's new, and people may just uniquely have questions for her that are about themselves, and she'll talk a little bit, but we don't have a program plan. But we want the veteran to come out and join us. Okay, Alderman reports. I have one thing on here that Sheltering Tree Ranch, the motorcycle event. I think Alderman Morgan, I think you helped with that a little bit with Splat.
Yes.
And you and Alderman Manning, y'all want to say anything about that? I was unable to be here because I was out of town, but it sounded like it was a great time and for a good cause.
Yeah, turned out really good, had a lot of people there.
Yeah. Didn't cost the city anything for the porta potty.
No.
Look at your financial statement. The Splat raised the money to pay for that. They paid us what they raised, and we ordered a potty, tax exempt status. So they had a place to make a little pit stop on their ride. So any additional Alderman reports?
Me,
Go ahead.
December the 2nd, we're having our Christmas parade. I've been talking to a lot of people. The flyers will be out this week. We waited till after Halloween, which was a huge success downtown. Kids loved it. It was a great, great time for everybody. And we'd like you to be involved in the Christmas parade, however it be through your church, through your family, having a, we'll welcome Saltillo sand and gravel. We can have a dump truck. So anyway, just holler at me and we'll get lined up. It'll be starting at 6 o'clock. Is it 6 o'clock?
Uh,
5 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock,
Yeah,
great.
5 o'clock.
Step
We'll
off
start
at
lining
5.
up at 4
Step
o'clock.
off at 5, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the
Okay.
theme this year?
The theme is gonna be Frosty the Snowman.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Any additional reports?
Is there any, the people that want to be in the parade part, is there any place that they can email you or what
Yes,
they're
and
doing or
yes, and
whatever?
I'll get that information out, but we are gonna do that,
That way
so
you
that
have
you'll
a
know. Cause
lineup.
we're gonna take golf carts side by sides, we're gonna have trophies for them, first place, everything, so.
Good, good.
Good time, and we'll end up at the gym and have Santa Claus down there and Mrs. Santa Claus and some hot chocolate and coffee.
Yeah,
Be
and
good time.
for all, though, I don't think we really had a committee on Halloween, but we had a great turnout. I think Ms. Jackson was involved in that to a big degree, and Alderman Maynard, and we had several out there, so had a great turnout for the kids in the community.
And also, let me say this, on the December the 2nd, we're having
That morning.
that morning at the gym, we're having
Bazaar?
the bazaar, thank you. A Christmas bazaar, we have a lot of local talent bringing their wares to sell, we've got some coming from the area, and so we'll be having that also on December 2nd.
So, speaking of all those activities going on toward this time of year, I would encourage the members of the community to go to the city website, because we post up all of our public notices on that website,
Right.
so that everyone can be informed about what's going on. And so, we're a part-time office, we don't have the door open every day, but you can always get on the internet if you have it. If you don't have access to it, you can come up here to City Hall, you can call the number, and somebody will return your call. So, want people to be informed as best as possible of all that's going on in town. Right, I think we're toward the end of that, and I apologize for the hour. We don't usually try to stay this long, but any additional from Alderman?
I got one more thing, Mayor.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Well, I don't feel comfortable talking about Chief Young and him not here. But I'd like to maybe mail him a letter for the first Tuesday of January. I wouldn't want to do it at the holidays.
Yeah.
I think he needs to answer some tough questions.
Okay, so, I will schedule a, special meeting for Chief Young. I say the first week in January, we have a meeting that week, so we can meet before the meeting. We can meet at 5, January the
Second.
2nd, January 2nd, 5 o'clock, I will send out a notice. Special meeting at 5 o'clock.
Is it, now let me ask you this,
Yeah.
is it our responsibility as aldermen to decide about, we've not been involved with anybody's hiring.
Yeah.
Oh, we've only done, the financial part of it, so is it up to us to say that? I just had that question because,
Yeah, well, I'll give you just a brief idea of what the process is with personnel for us regarding our charters. Some other city charters may be a little different, but I've spent quite a bit of time on it as mayor, reading the charter, talking to our attorneys, talking to MTAT, talking to people at Southwest Development, all those things. And so the process is, the mayor is responsible for all personnel matters. All personnel report directly to the mayor, okay? As far as hiring practices, typically, we start with creating the position if there's not one. The board approves any new positions, okay? So if we have a position that's open, the mayor does all the HR work along with our CMFO to do backgrounds and all those kind of things. I do the interviews, look at all the candidates, and then when it comes time to hire someone, I'll make a recommendation to the board. And the board can approve that recommendation or they can deny it. Works the same way in the school system. They take all the teachers for the year, renew their contracts or individual, the board approves the actual hiring. When you are in termination, it works kind of the same way. The mayor presents the board information regarding, let's say, if it was something criminal, it would be an automatic special call meeting. You would move for a dismissal hearing. If it was something that was just derelict of duty, it would be a little bit different process, but you would have documentation about the reason for dismissal of personnel. And the board, it would get, hey, I recommend, termination of, a maintenance worker because, whatever. And so the board would approve it or disapprove, okay? As far as suspension, in our charter, the mayor has the authority to suspend any employee. It's a different process for board members, but any employee can be suspended for in an undetermined amount of time by the mayor. And our charter is very vague. It doesn't really go into detail, but typically there's two ways to be suspended, with pay and without pay. And it kind of depends on circumstances and mayor discretion and the attorney. So that's, as far as personnel, you wouldn't do the interviews, you wouldn't communicate any personal matter. Now, a personnel can call a board member and say, look, I just want you to know I'm having some issues or whatever. I mean, they can call you and talk, but you don't do anything but listen to them. You don't have any authority to correct the matter. And typically what would happen, a board member would call the mayor and say, hey, had, one of your employees call me, they were concerned about harassment or whatever. And you know anything about, that kind of thing. So, but the mayor is the one responsible for the purchasing of everything, receiving the equipment. We have a purchasing policy for that, and then the HR process that I described. So that's a great question. And some of these things, if you look up on MTAF, they've got a great packet there about alderman responsibilities and things. It's a great packet. But yes, our charter is got a lot of things in it. Some of it's pretty vague, like any other legal document. So there you go. Yeah. Great question. Anything else?
Is that, since it's a personnel issue, the meeting that you just talked about, January, would that be a closed meeting since it's?
It's a public meeting. It's a personnel meeting. So Alderman Reeves made the motion to have the personnel meeting with the assistant chief. And I guess we just go through the process and to get a second on that.
The
Chief, not the
The
assistant
chief,
chief.
the chief.
Well, I think we should do it, I think, given the circumstances of everything that's been going on, that's led up to the point of tonight, where the assistant chief has stepped up more to the plate, we need to address it in our next meeting. That's my opinion.
Well, we're voting now for a special call meeting. We have a motion by Alderman Reeves to call Chief Young into a personnel meeting. So do I have a second?
A second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Okay. So
We're not talking about time, we're talking about
we're
just
talking
to
about
have it.
having a meeting for the chief to come to the board for a personnel hearing. Yeah. All right. Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yeah.
Alderman Reeves,
Yes, sir.
Alderman Carter,
Yes.
Alderman Wood.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so we'll have a special call meeting, give him an opportunity to, talk with you and about the fire chief business, so, okay? Anything additional? All right. I will,
Is
say
that
again?
gonna be in January or
it'll
December?
be January January,
I know, that's
the
why
first
I'm
Tuesday in
wondering.
January at 5 o'clock.
That's why I asked,
Yeah.
could we do it next month, given the circumstances of what's happened?
And him moving forward.
And he's moving forward on things that, I mean, this is pay. I mean, this is,
Yeah, but you can't discuss a man's termination
No,
at Christmas
no,
time.
No, I think it's,
That's what we're doing.
I think it's
We need to know
prudent.
January.
I think it's prudent for the board to have the meeting in January. I think
We're
it's
gonna
a
look
proper
awful
thing.
bad.
Well, I think the concern there, if I can say this, the concern there is that he's pointed out how many things we need to get done.
Right,
And
right.
maybe since he hasn't been able to communicate with the chief, he just stated.
Well, I understand that, and I'm working in that personnel matter in another
well, I mean,
direction.
and that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I'm dealing with some of those things, but, he is very competent to continue on in the capacity that he's in currently, to move on, so we'll leave it at that.
You heard.
I'm gonna continue putting in for the grant, no matter what.
Thank you.
We'll leave it at that for him,
Do
so,
what you do.
yeah. Yeah, okay, I get that, yeah. Okay. All right, Motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
All right. Alderman Carter, motion adjourned. We thank you all for coming. Second on